Hey friends, I thought I'd make a video today on Saturn retrograde. We don't often hear about Saturn retrograde. Most of us are familiar with Mercury retrograde, which means miscommunication. Our electronics go bad. It's not a good time to buy a car, a computer. It's very, mainstream, but we don't often hear about Saturn retrograde or what that means. And I've been feeling this cycle particularly strongly lately. So I wanted to go over that. And even the delay in making this video kind of points to the Saturn retrograde for me personally. Um, so Saturn went into retrograde this past July, and it's going to be out and moving forward again on November 27th. We also had Saturn move back from Aries into Pisces on September 1st, and that I think has sort of further intensified the Saturn retrograde and what it means. So, what is Saturn? What does Saturn represent? Well, Saturn, he does get a bad rap usually. He can create restriction, delay. There's a rather cold, calculating quality to Saturn. Many people struggle with their Saturn transits, which happen every 7 years, and then we have every 14 years, and then every 28 to 29 years when we have a Saturn return. So when these Saturn tense transit Saturns happen, we basically, they represent cycles in our life and times when we're making changes, perhaps going through some difficulties. But what Saturn really wants to do is help us manifest our dreams. So even though it might not seem like it at the time, Saturn's really there to help you get what you want out of life. I believe he's the ultimate manifester. He's really, here to bring heaven down to earth. So what's your, whatever your dreams are, your hopes, your aspirations, he's here to bring that into tangible earthly form. So it might not seem like it at the time, but for instance, I have had many clients who had a divorce when Saturn went through their seventh house of marriage. But after the 3.5 year transit, by the time Saturn was done, they were remarried. So Saturn, when he's going through a particular area of your life, which is represented by your house sign, or which house he's going through. He's there to sort of clean up shop, get rid of anything that's not working, in order to make room to ultimately bring you what you want. So it doesn't seem like it at the time, but Saturn's really there to help you. And you could think of it, if Jupiter, we're usually very happy with our Jupiter transits. Jupiter represents luck, expansion, freedom, happiness. But, you could think of Jupiter as being the air in the balloon and Saturn as the skin. You could be, if you're just all Jupiter, you're never actually going to get anything done, and you're never actually going to manifest what you want. So you need Saturn to sort of package things and make them happen. So, he brings things down to earth. And Saturn is, he's both an insider and an outsider in a way. Saturn's quite mystical. In traditional astrology, he is the last visible planet in the sky that we can see, and so he represents both. He represents the border between the inside and the outside. So he's both the conformist, the hardworking, participating member of society, and he's also the hermit who goes and spends his life in a cave meditating. He's both. He represents both things. He's got two faces, really. Um, So, yes, so things with Saturn can take a long time. And when he's retrograding, even more so. So Saturn really wants to get things perfect. To give you an example, my daughter is born with Saturn on her ascendant, um, which is usually the mark of an old soul because Saturn, he's kind of hesitant to come down again and reincarnate. That's what that energy represents. Um, and so physically for me, with Saturn then in my first house, because it's on her ascendant, well, we share the same rising sign. Anyway, not to get too much into that, don't want to confuse you, but with Saturn right on her ascendant, it was a very, very long labor, 48 hours. She is like one of those memes that you see where the baby's like, like I didn't want to come back. So Saturn represented a very long labor for me and a soul that is, didn't really want to come back, or great, I'm here on Earth again. But it's I can also see it in her personality. She's very much a perfectionist. She likes structure. She likes building things. She wants to get things done in a timely manner, and that's such Saturn energy. So Saturn retrograde, which is the point. So Saturn already, takes his time, does things in a very precise way, is very much a perfectionist. And when Saturn retrogrades, it's some of that getting things done, moving forward doesn't happen. He's kind of going back and checking his notes, getting his ducks in a row, making sure that this is actually what he wants. So if right now you're feeling that all these changes maybe you made, these projects that you were working on, that probably were going forward with some gusto earlier this summer, if you now feel like nothing's getting done, if you're starting to doubt yourself, doubt those plans you made, doubt those projects, those decisions, that's completely normal right now. It might feel like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I've been telling my clients for the last few years that, that summer of 2025, we're getting a preview, and we got a preview of what's coming in 2026. And then there's going to be a pullback, and then things are then going to start moving forward again. So there's a bunch of, outer planets changing signs, which really represent, generational shifts. So we have Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto all changing, around the same time. So this big shift is not fully happening until 2026, but we've gotten a preview of it now in 2025. But with Saturn going retrograde, all those plans, those changes, now maybe you feel like, oh, this isn't going to work out. So where you're going to feel those transits, and where you're going to feel this Saturn retrograde, depends on where Saturn is placed in your natal chart and which houses Saturn is ruling. I practice traditional astrology and whole sign houses. So Saturn rules my second house of income and resources and my third house of communication. And he is placed in my 10th house of career. I made some big changes this summer with my career, my resources, all kinds of things. And now it's scary. I made this big transition. Saturn in Aries represents really, Aries is the planet, this sign, represents newness, innovation, moving forward, new beginnings. And with Saturn going there, it was, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. And it all involves, again, resources, communication, and my house of career. And then Saturn started going backwards, and I began to sort of doubt things. Did I make the right decision to close my shop, to start practicing, doing my readings outside of the shop, etc. So it's been a little bit difficult even making this video. I feel like I've been delayed in making the video, but Saturn's really, again, do not worry, do not doubt. The changes you've made are you're just re-examining them. Your Saturn's going to help you perfect them, because you are totally able of moving forward again once Saturn goes direct. Well, he's going to go direct in November, but we probably won't really feel any progress until February, when he re-enters the sign of Aries. So yes, a lot of self-doubt can happen when Saturn is retrograding. Now, the other thing with Saturn is we might feel that Saturn is incompatible with the sign of Pisces. And there's ways in which, he is, because Pisces is the energy, represents the energy of not really wanting to do anything. Saturn wants to get things done, and Pisces kind of just wants to sit back and relax. Pisces just wants to be, why do I need to do anything? I just want to be at one, at peace. So Saturn, can't really get a lot done in Pisces, and that's part of, that doubt as well. Like, well, I feel like I'm in molasses. Nothing's working. Nothing's moving forward. So there is that aspect, but Saturn is also very much compatible with Pisces in the way that Saturn really represents the mystic. He was the mystic before Neptune was assigned to Pisces. In traditional astrology, his favorite house is the 12th house, which in modern astrology we associate with Pisces and therefore Neptune. But Saturn is the original mystic. So Saturn is the hardworking, productive member of society, but he's also the hermit who goes into a cave for years and meditates and makes his connection with oneness and being. So he represents both things. So he's not entirely incompatible in Pisces. And what I think this means with the Saturn retrograde, and Saturn won't be in Pisces until 2053 again. So what this means is Saturn's going back, and he wants you to meditate on your dreams, get in touch with them. Are these really the dreams you want to manifest right now? So he's asking you to take a pause, go back, reflect, so that he can better help you manifest those dreams once he re-enters Aries. So you can think of it as a time to sort of pause, rest, reflect. Don't try to force things. Don't try to get things done right now. Now's not the time for that. Just go back and reflect and get in touch with your highest self. And it's that time, to get that straight before Saturn starts moving forward again, because those intentions, those dreams is what he's going to help you accomplish in 2026. So he's ultimately about bringing your dreams into reality. Let's see. Yeah, so I think that covers it. Even for me, there's been a delay. There's been a big delay in making this video, and then that's Saturn trying to teach me a lesson, because my ultimate dream, is to do readings for people, to bring content out into the wider world, and I'm terrified of being in front of camera. So this is my Saturn lesson right now. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can email me at the email below, or book on my website at kamalokabooks.com. All right, thank you guys. I look forward to doing more videos, and perhaps next time I will be when well, I'll do another one before Saturn is in Aries again, but hopefully you know, my confidence in front of the camera will improve. At any rate, thank you guys. Bye-bye.